Welcome back, everyone, to the number one Guts Frisbee podcast in the United States. It's the Bag Zone. Braden, what's up? How's it
Heyo,
going?
I'm good, man. I'm glad to be back. I just got back in town from a lovely weekend downstate, uh, kind of around your neck of the woods, closer to your
We
neck of the woods,
we flip flopped
which is really
because
funny.
I've been in the UP the last 10 days.
Yes.
Obviously with our recording last Saturday, and then up at uh, Bay Cliff Science Camp after that, which we'll touch on a little bit with some frisbee mingling here shortly. But how was your trip downstate? How's the vacation?
Trip was great. The weather, we took the UP weather with us down there, unfortunately. It was, it was crummy. It was just like it was 50s. It kind of rained, but the trip was nice. We found some really sick, like we went thrifting and like antiquing. We did a lot of cool shopping, and we found some really really cool finds for the house. One of which we got a really sweet, it's like standing lamp for the living room, which is like Fenton painted glass, um, which we're really excited about. We found some really sick bookends, like like I know what you're thinking, bookends. Oh, whatever. No, dude, these are the coolest fucking bookends you've ever
I was
seen.
gonna say, I'm gonna need you to say something that has been created in the past 100 years at some point on today's
We went
podcast.
antiquing. What am I
Oh, I'm sure
supposed
they're
to?
great. Like,
They're so
I'm sure it
sick.
all looks fantastic. All I can think of is just Gabby destroy those
I don't.
bookends.
She can't. Well, one, she can't get to them because they're on a shelf like above our bed, and then two, they're like the heaviest fucking things I've ever picked up. Like it took me both arms to lift. Like I couldn't grab the bag in one hand and lift something else because I had to support the paper bag from underneath so it didn't like break. They're sick. They're really cool fucking bookends. Um, and we just had a great time. We saw some of her friends that she hasn't seen in a while. Saw some of her family that she hasn't seen in a while. The drive was smooth. We did that really classic thing. Living in the UP, all of the people that live in the UP and have gone downstate for some sort of holiday will know that us, when people from the UP are going south, everyone else is going north, which means
Oh,
there's
it's
no traffic.
the best feeling in the world watching like cars piled up. I got the flip side of it coming back Memorial Day Monday because the bridge is one lane right now,
Oh, so
going both
wait, did you
ways.
get caught in when we were coming back? People were like lined up to the BP, not moving
Yeah, not quite that bad. But it was like, yeah, you have four tolls open, but we all have to feed into one lane the entire
the
bridge.
whole time.
So it was like a 20-minute break just to get on the bridge.
Yeah, so we
And
pulled
then just like go like 10 miles an hour the entire bridge.
horrendous. So we pull through, and we're driving up, and like these losers going south are stat
I
here in traffic.
I know. I used to have it smooth like that. It
Oh, it
was
was so
great.
nice. Yeah, so going south, there was like no one because everyone from the Lower Peninsula is going north somewhere, and then going north on Memorial Day, there's like no
Everyone's going
one
back
going
south.
north. Yeah, so that was
Although
nice.
I did catch a couple like random Wisconsin people coming back from the
Hmm.
LP to
Yeah.
take US2 across, and I was like,
Yeah.
"You're not in the right state.
What are you
Get out
doing
of
over
here,
here?
you badgers! Like,
Uh,
come on,
so Noah, you
go
want
back to your cheese and spotted cow in Wisconsin."
before we touch on why you were actually in the UP? I don't have this on the list, but I think we better talk about it. Do you want to touch on how our round of golf went on?
I'm just gonna put out there that truly the back nine had no idea how the front nine went.
No, neither did the back nine's weather have any
I
idea.
was gonna say, so I'm still waiting for that rain to end soon, Braden.
I'm
Like,
still wet. I'm still like part of my bones are still cold from.
yeah, we got to the range on Saturday. I have not hit a golf ball outside since last September, and it is actively raining in our faces. Like my glasses just became unwearable. It was raining that consistently, and I mean, I had no form. I was just topping the ball. We were chunky. Like it felt terrible. Braden's over here just hitting clean down the middle strokes, like looking
Okay.
like he's a real golfer. Not his first round of the year. And then we get to the course, and it was pretty much the same. It rained a little bit less, but if it wasn't for the vibes being so high,
Oh, the
And
fives were
then what was it
incredibly
on
fun.
like 16? You looked at me and you were like, "What are we doing out here, man?"
Oh, so we rounded the back nine, and then it didn't really start raining until a few holes in, and then yeah, we got to those last few. I might have said, "What the fuck are we doing here?" 5 times the last 3 holes. Like it was one of those
Also,
rounds where everything is soaked through. I'm trying to like sit on my hands in the cart to be warm.
yeah, like praying that that'll help at all.
We're playing the fastest. Like I'm stepping up. I'm slamming the brakes on this golf cart, stepping out, grabbing a club. I don't know what the fuck I
Oh, it
grabbed
was ready golf.
to
It
hit a
was
golf
really ready
ball
golf.
and get back. But the fives were great.
Also, we played we played a kart scramble on the back
We
nine,
did, yeah,
which we won
we did.
by a stroke.
Yes, I would say handily, but Max caught. Well, 17 we fell apart a little bit because it
We
was
did,
like
and also Max just nailed the putt
he did. It was big time.
after they had what was it? It was a save from the cart path.
Yeah, on the yes, yeah,
Yeah,
because the
because
17th
they were on the
is
far
yep.
side of the green, and Max sunk like a 20-footer after Bert left them with what would have been a difficult bogey putt.
But heaven forbid, Max. Yeah, no, it was a blast. It
Also,
was a
it
good
was
time.
Max's first round of golf, and I think he's better than me already.
I'm gonna be honest, the form was a little better.
I was gonna
No
say
shade.
fundamentally way
No
better.
shade. No shade. Love you both. The form on Max was
No,
slightly
no,
better.
I am a terrible golfer. Also, Max had the original ironwood, which is now what we call a
God,
hybrid.
I wish I took a picture of that because it said
It was a
iron
triangle.
wood on it.
Like
It was the craziest fucking club I've ever
it
seen.
basically, if you took like the loft of like a 5 wood, but then tried to put like a 5 wood in the back, like it had some junk in the trunk.
Oh, yeah. It
It
was
also weighed like
but
6 pounds.
also it was whippy. It was like a senior like
Yeah.
shaft. This was the craziest club. It was like if it was a cavity back iron on steroids. Like this thing was thick, but it was like I don't
It
know.
was
I
it
don't
was
know.
great,
He smoked the hell
but
out of that though.
we had really good team bonding. Overall, I think it was type 2 fun. Like in the moment, we're like, "This is terrible," and we were like, "That was a really fun round of golf."
Oh, great round of golf. Would I do it again? God, I hope not. But in the moment, would I do it? Oh yeah, I would.
I was gonna say, I mean, any round of golf's a great round of golf, but
Any round of golf.
especially with the fellas, we got out there, stretched it out.
We did. All right, Noah. So what we were really in the UP for, and
Yeah, so I take a week every year to teach at uh, Baycliff Science Camp, which is a camp that the Marquette school systems have been doing for, gosh, I should remember this number because we talked about it. I think it's like their 67th year or something. It's oddly close to how many IFTs we've had.
a coincidence.
Uh,
Hmm.
but I teach a frisbee class up there. I used to be a counselor, now I just teach. And on Wednesday, we did a guts demo. You can kind of see one of the pictures, the bottom picture. It's more obvious that Braden and I are standing together.
Yeah, left side of the
Braden, are
picture.
you in the second picture?
Yeah, I am. Turns out there's a seventh grader that was about the same height as me, and I just so happened to like
Oh no!
be behind that seventh grader.
I was gonna
So,
say
well, here
the
I
top
can.
picture. You can see my dad. My dad came up for it too, and then Lottie, who's taking the picture for both.
Yeah, okay. So you see me back here, right in the middle. I am on my tippy toes
Oh
behind that small
no!
child. By the way,
I,
by the way, if I remember correctly, which I'm pretty sure I do, I just so happened to find the one seventh grader that was the same height, if not a little taller than me.
but yeah, so I was up there to teach frisbee. We did a couple days of ultimate. Super cool, actually. For the first time, I had a camper ask me where to play ultimate in Marquette,
Really?
like outside of school or like other affiliated stuff. He's like, "Hey, is there a place I can keep playing this?" And I'm happy he asked because that kid was a dog.
Hell yeah.
Like
Get him in there.
genuinely, there was another like athletic kid. Do you remember the kid? We had him both times. He was throwing that two finger.
I
That
do.
was like
Yes.
when he's not 4'2", it's gonna be really good.
Yeah.
'Cause he's like me when I was in 7th grade. Like my thumber dipped because it went up first to get to the line. Like not because
It
of
had an
movement.
arc. It
Yeah,
was a yeah.
there was a parabola at the top of my thumber back then, and it was like, yeah, he's just not big enough yet. But I had him guarding this other kid because I was like, "Oh, you're both athletes," and he was like, "Dude, I can't guard him. He's too fast." Like he was just getting cooked on defense, and I was trying to be like, "Hey, give him a 5 foot buffer. Like make him have to make all of the passes
Yeah.
because we don't have D1 handlers here.
No.
Like someone's gonna screw up if they have to pass the frisbee 15 times. Um, but that kid would just come out of nowhere on defense and like sprinted all the time. Was like asking about different ways to throw the frisbee. Um, was out pretty solid at guts. He just didn't play in enough.
Mm.
But it was super cool. We handed out a bunch of frisbees. I got a shout out to Lotnans and the I forget the specifics of it, but the Marquette Gets Frisbee 501c3 for donating a bunch of discs for us and some shirts for the kids,
Yeah, there were a lot of seventh graders that went home happy and with
including
frisbees in hand.
right, including a Claffy, which was crazy.
There was a Claffy there. Yeah, that was awesome. I sent pictures to Aiden, and he was like,
Good,
"That's what the
good.
fuck is up." Yeah, so it
And
was
he just
blast.
goes, "She can throw a flip, I promise."
Yeah, it's
Just
it's in there. It's in the
inherently,
genes somewhere.
it's in there somewhere.
We just have one more thing. We have an impromptu dump truck to hit from Bay Cliff.
I
Uh,
think if you see this on the line, I don't know if you're ever hitting it. Like,
in
I
in what
mean,
way?
well, I'm waiting for the picture to pop
All
up,
right,
but like,
okay,
I
okay,
think
okay.
it's too intimidating. Like, that's scaring you off the line right there.
Like you're going to play just a different team.
Well, I mean, like the amount of aura that's just coming off that person on the line, like, just can't hang, dude.
You left this week with seventh graders, picked up slang, just whole new
Just
slang.
slang, which I still don't understand any of it. Like,
Did you pick up anything? Are you bringing anything back to? Are,
um,
are you incorporating
I've learned
seventh
that they've
grader slang?
stopped saying "skibbity's out."
Oh, thank the
Like,
Lord! That shit was the most
that's it
annoying.
was on the way out because
Oh
I
my
heard like
god.
only a few kids mention it, and it didn't get a rise out of the other kids.
Mm.
They're also stopped saying Ohio for bad.
Ah,
I didn't hear a single Ohio in the
that's.
chat. Also, instead of just saying in a conversation, they say like they refer to each other as chat. Yeah,
That's awesome.
like, and I'm like, oh no, gaming culture's gone too far. The
Oh.
other one is like if they have a crush on someone, they say like "huz," like that's my
That's
huz.
my huzz. Ooh.
Yeah, there's a lot of huz chat, and I was like, I was talking to two girls who I was trying to get to do a Harry Potter situation where they both asked their crushes to the dance. And one of
Yes.
them was like, "Nah, like, I don't think Huz is in reach." And I was like, "I don't think you understand what that means then." Like, if
In
you're not dating
reach.
and this isn't a mutual attraction, like, I don't think they can be Huz.
No, I don't think they can either. I had a kid. Uh, Stewie was taking attendance in the first one. Um, and he asked for a kid's name, and the kid, without skipping a beat, said, "In the flesh,"
Oh, man. Oh
which
gosh,
I
that's
actually just might
fantastic.
start using that. I don't know when I'm ever gonna hear my name called for roll, but when it is, "In the flesh"
Can
is
you imagine,
being
like,
used
in, like, a work meeting, but then you're on Teams and it doesn't, like it's incorrect because 'cause you're not in the
because you're not in
flesh
the
in person,
flesh.
and you're just like, guys, can we, like, circle back on Tuesday when we're in the office so I could try again?"
This worked better in my head. I don't know. That's
What was the other one? Oh, cousin Cuzzo
mm,
got thrown around a lot,
yeah.
and I was like, "Okay,
Seventh
sure."
graders. Jeez. Anyways,
Like,
we had a
friend works
friend
too.
works. Friend is just great. Yeah.
Friend's great.
Whatever. Yeah. But Bay Cliff was a blast. I had a great time. Um.
Yeah, and it's always, like, super exciting to see just the response that we get to Guts Frisbee. I swear, like, every year, 2 or 3 kids ask me if we're gonna play Guts during Frisbee class, and I'm always like, "How on earth do you know what this is?
Hell
Like,
yeah.
what was your introduction?"
This podcast.
I hope not.
Yeah.
If
Me
any of,
too.
like I mean, if any, like, Bay Cliff campers somehow found this, like, let us know in the comments, but also, like, don't watch it.
Don't. Yeah. You can.
Go watch another Frisbee video.
So that's all. I had a blast. I love doing that since you've been inviting me. It's just fun seeing the kids try it out, and
Yeah, also, I do have to say there was one kid that got absolutely rocked in the
oh,
face.
domed. I do
Because
remember that.
there were 2 kids who could, like, actually throw, like, with some zip and, like, a really nice spinny backhand, and kid just did not put his hands up in time.
No,
And
he
then he looked down and he was like, "I think I'm bleeding," and I was like, "You're probably fine." and then I just saw blood on whoever's gloves he was borrowing, and I was like, "Oh, you need to go to the medical officer right now." And I looked and I was like, "Oh, your lip split open. You took that on the chops."
I remember watching it because they're seventh graders. They're slow in what's to us like slow motion enough to like
Yeah.
comprehend it. I remember watching it and I remember scanning and getting to the other line and this kid's hands were firmly at his sides.
Yeah,
Like not
it's
even remotely up there.
not quite in the pockets, but, like, they might as well have been because they were just there was no world where that kid was defending himself.
No, dude took it on the chin like a champion.
I mean, shout outs, he came back to class, didn't participate after that because he had an ice pack to his face, but came back, which I was like, "Hey, that's what guts is about."
Beauty. Speaking
Also, I
of,
remember I looked at all the other kids and I was like, "Oh, hey, this is the biggest injury you can have in the game." Like, you just
that's it.
watched it,
Yep.
and he's fine.
Yep. That's it. You're fine. Whatever. Throw some ice on it. Speaking of ice packs and bloody lips, playoff hockey is
I was wondering where that segue
active
was going.
is
Nailed it.
actively happening. I have two things, one for each series. Um, for those of you listening, we're recording on Tuesday the 27th, so I think the Oilers are playing tonight.
They are actively playing in a half
Oh,
hour.
okay, so they're on, and then game 6 of the other game will have happened.
5.
Yep, or is it five? Yeah, game 5 will have happened. Sorry. I have two
The
things.
Panthers will have moved on to the cup final,
Yeah, so that's
probably,
one.
after the gentleman's sweep.
That's one. One if Carolina didn't, I was texting you all of well since the series started. Florida up until the last game, it didn't look like Florida was losing a hockey game ever again.
Ever again. Ever.
They were unbelievably good.
And I mean, also, like, 3 guys were out last
Yeah,
game?
they
Like,
yeah.
Barkov didn't
Barkov,
play, one of
who's
their defensemen whose name I'm blanking of.
oh and
Um,
Nico Mikola,
yep, that would be the
who
one, the
somehow has
super
like a
Finnish guy.
million goals.
Yeah. Did
But
you hear, Paul Maurice's interview after last game?
oh, was that the one where he was like, "Yeah, I didn't like the second and third goals" because he
Yeah,
asked about
so
Bob. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, for context, Carolina went up 1-0 and then scored 2 empty net goals at the end of the game. And when asked about it, Paul Maurice's response was, "Yeah, I mean, I think Bob's spacing on the second and third goals was horseshit." As he's actively sitting on the bench.
He
And I was
never.
like, "Oh, that's a coach who's not at all worried that they're going to
No,
win the series the second they touch home ice again."
I don't. As someone who works in sports media, like pre and post, like press conferences are part of the job, and they're kind of monotonous at times because that's what I do for work. Paul Maurice, the best press conferences. I will. I like that's like almost scheduled television almost. Paul Maurice has a press conference. I want to hear. I want to listen
The
to
fact
this.
that he makes them exciting is like
And it's incredible.
crazy
Yeah,
in
love it.
the landscape. What's your thought on the other series? Because right now I'm just sad.
About
I really like Ottinger, and he played really bad in Game 3.
well, so true. Yes. Well, speaking of Ottinger, well, kind of speaking of Ottinger, but more the other series. What the fuck were they doing playing Kochetkov in Game
Oh, yeah, I
3?
was like, did Freddie get hurt again?"
No, that made no
Like,
sense to me.
I
Like
was like,
him coming back and pitching a shutout. You've got if you're Rod Brindamore, you're like, what the fuck was I doing in the third game?
yeah.
Anyways,
Bro,
but that would be like Ottinger. Who the fuck even is their backup? I don't know. That'd be like sitting down Ottinger
uh,
for this game.
it's
Sit,
like, did you know that there was a time period where in NHL games in like the early 2000s, Martin Brodeur did not have a named backup goalie? His name was G Backup, and his full name was Goalie Backup because there wasn't a legitimate backup for Marty Brodeur that they put in the games.
it
And
was
what's even
just
crazier,
e-bugs.
yeah, he's basically an e-bug, but he's just the first backup on like the Devils roster. But he was better than like 10 of the goalies in the game.
That's
Like,
crazy.
like unnamed Devils backup is better than legitimate human beings who play in the NHL.
Oh my god. That's crazy. But anyways, that'd be like if the Stars, for whatever reason, was like, let's give Ottinger a break. You know, he's been lights out, but
Which
like, yeah, whatever. We don't.
also, have you seen his stats when he after a loss in the playoffs?
No,
He's the best goalie after a loss in the history of the NHL playoffs.
sick. Yeah, so you're not
Because he's
yanking him.
he's like 17-2 or something, like just crazy numbers.
Hell yeah, that's so sick. And one of his losses came recently because, well,
It was game 3 when
yeah,
he
exactly,
laid
right.
a complete egg.
Yes.
So now
So
he gets like a double boost going into
could you
game
imagine?
4.
Oh my God, makes 70 saves tonight. But my prediction is I think Florida is never going to lose ever again. But I also think that Edmonton is just inevitable, which is good because we have an immovable object in unstoppable force meeting
Okay, the real
again.
question is though, how many goals is Stuart Skinner going to give up in that first game of the
Yeah,
Cup
so
Finals?
it's either 0
6,
or yeah,
7?
it's either 0 or 6. There's no in
Because that's
between.
always the problem in a run back is I don't think it'll take 7 this time. I expect Florida to
No.
win in like 5
Yeah.
because they're all going to be healthy and they're going to be like all of a sudden like Marshy's going to get the finals MVP because he's randomly going to be like I'll put up 5 goals in the cup finals.
That'd be
Also,
fun.
one time I want him to get a double minor or not a double minor, coincidental minors with McDavid for roughing. Like, could you imagine the ultimate rat maneuver is to get McDavid in the box for 2?
I mean, if you're taking if the best player on the ice is not allowed to be on the ice for at least 2 minutes, that seems like a good play to me.
Also, I had a segue to our guest and then realized that calling him the ultimate rat was terribly disrespectful because he's way too nice of a man for that.
So with that being said, we have a guest who we've had
Yeah, why don't you
waiting.
give him like
Yeah.
the good and honest intro?
Who he's been waiting for the past 21 minutes. So let's jump to him, shall we? All right. So joining us today, his first tournament was in 2015 on the infamous 3 Lukes, 2 Connors, and a Braden team,
Not
which
called Togos. It
no,
was
not
actually
called
just
Togos.
3 Lukes, 2 Connors, and a Braden.
He has 3 major tournament wins and 5 finals appearances. Most notably, him and UP Hardwood are the reigning 2024 IFT championships and the 2023 Wisconsin Guts Championship, which they knocked us out in the losers bracket finals. And I can
When he played
still,
with Bop.
yes, I can still see his
Connor
backhand
bagging
he
Bert.
threw. Well, that too, but then the backhand he threw against Pat in like overtime, where it was like
Yeah.
outside man, outside the grossest thing ever. So, those are the 2 notable ones. He took second place with the Team USA in the 2023 Asia Oceanic Ultimate Guts Championships in the Philippines, and he also just earned a bronze medal as the captain and with Noah of USA Red at the 2024 World Guts Championships in Australia. He was awarded the Spirit of Guts Award in 2022 alongside his best friend Luke Lottinen, and he is also a board member of Market Guts Frisbee Association since 2022. He is a USA Guts board member since 23 and has aided in running both the U.S. Nationals tournament and helping myself and the other conglomeration, the rest of the conglomeration with last year's Dome tournament.
The other
The
one.
other conglomeration with everyone else that helped out. Basically, he's been around for a lot and he's done a lot. Everyone, without
Remember when
further
we just said
ado,
that like Luke was our friend?
I do. Yeah, I feel really
like,
bad for Luke now.
like, and it was like no, and like Luke's a G, and it was like
We were much less professional back then. Much less
yeah.
professional. I didn't think to do this. Well, to be honest with you, I didn't think to do this until like 2 hours before we
I
started
mean, also
recording
like
today.
Luke's frisbee history for the most part, outside of winning multiple Keweenaw Classics, is the same as
True.
ours, pretty much.
True. That's true. So, anyways, without further ado, please welcome to the show, Connor Steer, everybody. Hey,
It's
hey.
not. How's it going?
Good, man. How are you? I'm glad you could join.
Yeah, it's to withstand all the aura that's coming from Noah right now because
Good luck.
I mean I don't you've been
Good
putting up a good
luck.
fight, Braden.
I've been trying, dude. I'm trying to like bump up the personality to match the shades that he's got going on and like this clothespin that he's got in the backwards hat and it's pink
Yeah,
too.
courtesy by the way, Cabin 26 shout outs. They were the best. I've got like 9 other ones from them too.
So
Yeah, I
what's
was
the
gonna I
go on?
oh I was gonna say yeah, you were mentioning you got all these things from Bay Cliff. Like what was your best find?
Um honestly, throwing it back to the picture that was up earlier, that Sherpa was on sale because it's like last year's merch, but it was like super fuzzy. It's like the perfect, it's like 45 degrees out and I'm not running around clothing. And it is the softest thing in the world. And so I got it for like $30
Hell yeah.
and I am loving it.
Hell yeah.
Definitely haven't worn it like every day since.
No
I,
shit,
I was
Tyler.
hoping you'd say something from that picture, and then we'd maybe be able to see it again. But
Well, it's on the other scene.
You'd have
I
to
don't.
disappear, Connor, I think is
Yeah,
the
you'd
Oh,
have to
yeah,
go
for
away.
sure,
Yeah, yeah,
Carter.
yeah. I don't know if I
Hey,
can.
I got it in the vault.
I don't know
So
if I'm good enough to just whip it up on screen like that yet.
That'll be
Later.
season 2 of the
Yeah,
podcast.
you
So,
ask me like a year or so down the line, I might have that figured out. Don't right now. Okay, Connor. First question for you today. We want to know. Obviously, you've done a lot in the sport. You've been around for a minute. We want to know what was day one. How did you start?
especially like the played once in or a little bit in 2015, and then like what really got you into it to like bring you back, because I think that's something that's pretty common in
Mm-hmm.
the community is like you try it and then there's a gap and then something like pulls you back in.
yeah, so I mean, Luke Lotman, like we did mention before, like he was definitely the reason why I played guts frisbee. He got me into it when we were probably even like 2014, just kind of messing around in the cul-de-sac at his house. But he got me into the sport. Played 2015, but kind of as like you guys may know too, it's that high school age is kind of hard to play guts and then also do high school sports.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was a baseball player, and so the summer baseball season and the summer guts season don't really mesh very well, especially when you're
Legion
both using the
baseball
same.
is
Yeah,
the worst thing in the world
exactly.
for a guts
hmm
player.
And you're using the same arm, so like I would go and throw 100 frisbees and then go to baseball practice the next day and be like, wow, like I can't throw a baseball today. Like so,
And this is why
it just
Connor
it didn't
Steer
really
never
mesh
made
very
it to
well.
the MLB is because
Yeah, because of guts
cuts
frisbee.
frisbee.
Yeah,
You know, it's
that's
it's
my
funny you say
excuse. Oh
that.
yeah.
There was a tournament, not to completely derail it real quick, but there's a tournament that Adam, because Adam was one of the rare few who like would still play guts and baseball at the same time. He threw. It was a tournament where there wasn't a pitch limit. There was like you could pitch 16 innings in the tournament or something.
hmm
So Adam started Saturday through 6 innings. He then threw a 7 inning start or Friday, a 7 inning start on Saturday, and then he went to Sunday of the IFT.
That's gas, dude.
And I was like,
That's
"How?"
a specimen right
He
there.
was
Yeah.
like 17, and he was like, "Yeah, my arm was just like rubber back then. I'm not really sure." And like now I'm like, "Dude, could you imagine playing catch warming up for Guts Frisbee? My arm would be shot."
Yeah, dude.
Oh yeah.
That's gas. Shout out Adam Gannon. So,
But
as you were saying, yep.
but but yeah, getting back to it. Yeah. So like 2019 was like that fall where we kind of the whole friend group got together, and there's a picture out there somewhere. Actually, the picture is in Luke Lotman's basement because I can't remember who, but they got a canvas printed picture of our Togos team from the 2019 U.S. Nationals. Um, picture.
Hell yeah.
So that was like the whole crew. So I mean, we had Trevor Lewis on that team.
Oh my god, that's a
I
name.
Name and a half.
think that was Max Oraz's first tournament.
Shout out
Um,
Max.
but yeah, no, that was like the tournament that got like most of us to like consistently play. And then I think the other that was, I mean, I just played like I played with a bunch of on Team No Shame,
Mm.
hashtag Team No Shame with Emmendorfer and Nick Mesnick.
Hell
Oh
yeah.
yeah, all my
Um,
brother's buddies.
Hell yeah.
yep. But yeah, started playing in 2019, went to Worlds in 2019, and then just kind of kept playing. But
Sweet. Do you have a welcome to guts memory, or like what's one of your earliest things that you think of when you look back to the early beginnings?
oh gosh, I mean, I'd say I have two, and they're kind of pretty similar. Like first was the Bothwell Gym,
Shout
which
out.
is a very well renowned thing on this podcast.
Oh yeah.
Um, but I think it was a Bothwell Gym practice, and Cam Berrigan hit me with a turnaround backhand, and he definitely missed his spot because I think he was trying to hit Justin or Johnny or somebody else, and he pulled it right into me, and it hit me like right in the chest.
Ugh.
And I had the biggest welt from like the bottom of my neck
Oh,
to like below my nipple, and it was like red.
yeah,
And
dude.
so that was like a wow, like all right, like that didn't hurt that bad, Like I definitely winced a little bit and was like, oh, that's I think that's where the guts energy came from. But I got the main one was the three Lukes, two Connor, and a Braden tournament, the 2015 U.S. Nationals, where I think it was the game that we got knocked out Sunday morning. We were playing half breeds, so Noah may remember this game,
Yeah, I do.
but Tanner Beckman, it was like I think it was either game point or it was like 19 to like 8, and it may
Mm.
have been game point or it was 19 a forehand and hit me like square in the balls. And
That's
it, like
right.
like a complete whiff, and it just got me like right in the no square,
Oh
and
no.
I was keeled over for that one. I don't even think I played the last point. I think somebody came in because I was just like out of commission.
No, that's
Oh.
right, because it was definitely like the game is basically over. We are up a lot of points. Like,
Yeah.
let's just roll them off to the side. Let them take a minute.
Mhm.
My question is, I want to know who threw for you.
Oh, it was probably Luke McCullough because I think Luke McCullough took any shot that he could that tournament because
Rightfully
he was
so
just
with
like,
that team at the
yeah,
time, yes.
any dump shot, give it to Luke Lottinen or Luke McCullough. Like,
Why are you saying you didn't want Braden's two finger back in the day with that sexy, sexy run up?
I don't want my two finger back in the day, with or without the run
well,
up.
honestly, if I could have thrown the turnaround thumber that I threw this past weekend back then when I
Oh,
was actually throwing thumbers,
yeah,
That was
maybe I
nice.
would have scored.
you could have, could very well have. Not keeled over though. That's awesome.
Oh
No.
no.
All right, going forward, what's like the one notable thing talking to two people who have yet to raise an IFT trophy? Like, what's the biggest moment that stuck out to you from either like playing in the finals or like finally winning that tournament and getting to hoist the trophy from it, or just like anything from that whole experience?
Is the trophy heavier than it looks?
Um, it is heavy. Like, well, I'd
I've heard
say
it's like 40 pounds.
it was about as heavy as I thought it would be,
Mm,
but I thought it would be heavy. So it was like it kind of you pick it up and you're like, oh, we're going for it, and
yeah,
then I mean, you're going after it. But no, yeah, it was pretty surreal. I think, I think honestly, like all three tournament wins, you kind of just like you guys probably even know from this past year, like you kind of black out a little bit, you
A
know?
lot.
a lot of
Like
bit.
like
A
but I
lot of
think
it.
I don't think it really hit me. Like there's a picture somewhere and I can't remember who took the picture, but there's a picture of me on the tailgate of my truck by the hockey rink right
Yep.
there that we parked by. And I'm like sitting on the tailgate of my truck and the like personal trophy is like right next to me on the tailgate. And I'm just like leaned over and hunched over, like breathing. And I think Axel took the picture, but he was like, "This is the." That was like the moment where I was like, "Wow, like that just happened."
Hell yeah.
But like you're just like even you guys could probably tell from like this nationals last year, like you're just so energized and
Yeah.
hyped up that you kind of just black out for
Yeah.
like the 20 minutes after.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. I definitely remember. I don't have. It's all just like blurred together. I remember being there. I remember it happening. But there's a lot of like, cause you're just dialed for most of it.
I remember seeing like Rachel had sent me a couple of videos that she had taken from like the sideline of like the last point in the handshake line, and I was like, I don't remember any of this,
No.
like literally none of it. And I was like, oh, there I go, and I'm like, don't remember what my point of view was, and this was less than a calendar year ago.
Hell yeah. Do what was the drink of choice out of the cup? Do you remember?
Also explain how little of the beer stays in the cup, because that was
Oh
talked
my
about at
God.
Guts Camp, and that needs to be shared.
So our beer of choice was Labatt's Blue Light,
Yep.
which I think for our team, like that's perfectly fitting because I mean, when we would go over to the Lotman household when we were hanging out growing up, it was always Labatt Blue Light in the fridge,
Hell
and
yeah.
so it was just like the cherry on top for like our team
Yeah.
having that like same core group. But yeah, no, I think I honestly probably got like 2 shots worth of a beer out of it. Like we we kind of went after it right away,
Yeah.
and I think we should have taken after some of the teams from the past years, putting a solo cup in there.
Mm.
But then you don't get any of like the metallic
No.
taste. So like I could taste the cup, so I think that
I
was
was
important. But
I was gonna say we've talked about almost like your Stanley Cup rotation, and I'm sure
yeah.
Lottie can speak more to this. Like going first kind of sucks because you get all of like the rusted metal and like
Hmm.
last year's dried beer. Like you're taking
Yeah.
it for the team.
Hmm.
Because there's no way that this cup has been washed in between, right? Like
Oh,
there's
that's
Oh no,
sacrilege.
there's no
of
chance.
course not.
It's like cast iron pans. You don't wash that. It just
Yeah,
you christen it,
gives
dude.
more flavor.
Yeah.
Maybe the Nakazel Cup is like the fountain of youth. Like
Mm.
that maybe this is why Ryan Scott can still throw as hard as he can, like
He's
he
just
drank
drank
from
from
the
it so
cup
many
so many
times.
times. Yeah.
Hell yeah. And that's
I
why
love
Noah and
that.
I have progressively felt more old
Aged
throughout the years
so
because we have
fast.
yet to drink from this cup.
The cup will fix my back problems. That's what I'm finding out.
Yeah, that's what
Just
I'll
really
keep
gotta
telling
win an
myself.
IFT.
Yeah, that'll be my
Yeah.
motivation. Are you guys do you plan on running it back for the title defense? Do you know if the team's going to look the same?
So it'll just be our normal UP hardwood team as of now, unless I don't know otherwise. But I know talking with Bert, Trevor Bertonia, and I haven't talked to Derek in a while, but I know talking to Trevor like this past weekend, and like we were talking about their IFT plans, and so I think it was like a mutual agreement between the two. We were like, you know what, like we teamed up and we got it done for Marquette. And then now it's like, all right, well, let's try and like face each other, like let's
Yeah,
try and both get there and kind of duke it out, But
fair enough. Yeah, dude. I always love like I'm really excited about nationals. It's like
mhm.
defending the title. That's a whole big thing. Like I'm pumped to do that. And
Oh
I'm
I'm
yeah.
gonna
sure
get
you guys are too.
I'm gonna get so
Hmm.
nervous.
Yeah, but
Like
that's part
first actual moment that we need to play frisbee, I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, we have like a weight's been lifted, but also now there's like an expectation for like one tournament of like I remember because O'Malley's had that. They won their first nationals. And talking to Adam, he was like, there's almost more pressure the second year if you like, especially if it's the exact same team,
sure.
of like, oh, this is like our thing now. Like we got to protect it. And I was like,
And
that's new.
and honestly, like on the flip side of that too, like 2021, when me, Bert, Derek, Ryan, and Luke Colden played TM Fitness, and we lost to O'Malley's in the finals that year, and then came back with Whiskey Disc. It was like we were even more fired up because we're like, we got to beat these guys this time, you
Yeah.
know? So it's like, that's like it's like you kind of have the other people that you beat that are going to play even harder, and then you have more added pressure, you know?
You know, we've been
But
saying that against Bob for 5 years, and I'm still waiting for it to finally happen.
So so speaking of BOP, this is a great transition. So you were on BOP at Wisconsin 2023, and you knocked us as the DM Dragons out in the losers bracket final. I had
In
mentioned
overtime.
in overtime. Yeah, that was a nuts game. What was it like playing with BOP, and do you remember anything from winning that tournament?
yeah, so I remember it was like, so the reason why we all like kind of broke up for that tournament because so Luke got asked by to play with John Ludke and um oh, why am I blanking on his name? The Japanese player who came and played that year. I can't remember what.
Oh, I remember this happening. Yes, I can't remember their
But
name though. Yep.
so Luke got asked to play with them, and Luke wanted to do that. We were like, yeah, that's fine. Like we can, like for Wisco, let's like just kind of
It's
break up
Wisco.
and do
Yeah,
whatever.
Yeah.
we can.
Yeah.
And so I think I posted on Facebook that I was a free agent. And like within 10 minutes, Will Blau texts me and he's like, hey, he's like, you want to play with Shuttlebot?
Hell
And I'm
yeah.
like, fuck yeah. Like
Hell yeah.
at that point too, like with going to Michigan Tech and going to school up there, all of us, like we basically played with those guys the same, if not more than the Marquette group,
Yeah.
because we would play every weekend in Hancock. And so like we had gotten to become really good friends with those guys and kind of already built like a little bit of chemistry and played with them a bunch. And so I had a blast playing with them. Like the, I will say, like that team dynamic is like unlike anything else, but
Dude,
it is it,
it's wild. Having
but it
played
is it
a
is it
tournament
is
with
very
Bob,
fun.
dude, it's that moment of like it kind of seems like a weekend with like those friends who you don't talk to that much, but you're like, oh, those are like my wild friends, or like my like you spend a weekend with them and you're like, dude, that was so much fun. How do you guys do this all the time? Like, I am
Yeah,
so tired and stressed after this
exactly.
experience.
And like it just everything works like and like I mean I love all those guys just and so playing with them it's like people would get on each other and then like Steve-O is like he's like the glue on that team, at least what I took from it, of like he can tell anyone like dude, like shape up, you know what I mean, like,
Yeah.
and Steve-O just has a way of like calming everyone on that team down and like knowing when to pick everyone on that team up. Like you can just tell that they've played together, whether it be hockey, baseball, football, guts. Like
Yeah.
they just know each other in and out, and like it was
That's
such a
awesome.
fun team to play on.
I'm now so intrigued as to how they will play without Steve-O Wisco.
Is he? Oh, he just had a kid, didn't he?
He just said, yeah, also shout
Congratulations.
outs to,
Yep.
Yes, yeah. Congratulations to the Dudennises.
yeah, I
Shout out.
expect a frisbee in that child's hand so fast.
If not already. And then final thing, final memories, guts related things. Uh, something that the three of us shared. Do you have anything that you can share with the pod, Australia related? Like, what did you? What were some fun things from you?
It was, I mean, it was, I mean, there's a lot. Like, there's a lot to unpack that. But I just think like there's something about going on a trip like that with like the group that we had. Like it just made it that much better. Like we were all such good friends with each other, and so like it didn't matter like who you were going out with or like what you were doing. Like that's one thing I love about the Guts community is like I personally feel like I can hang out with anyone
Yeah.
in the Guts community and have a great time.
Yeah.
And so like that trip, it's just like, oh, you guys are going to the beach? Like, sure, I'll go to the beach with you guys. Like, we'll have a great time, Like, um, but no, I think honestly, some of the like underrated best memories of that trip were because we'd get there, and you guys have talked about the shuttles
Yep.
on
I
the
was gonna say,
podcast a
Yep.
little bit,
if you do not mention
and
these beanbags, I'm gonna lose my mind.
yes, yes, because we would get there so damn early,
Yeah, dude.
and the blue V and
Oh,
the
No, dude.
oranges and the bananas and us and the Aussie boys, we would just pile up the bean bags and we would just take like a little 30-minute power nap and oh, it was great.
And the Aussie boys would
But
already, no matter how early we got there, they would already somehow be under the beanbags.
yes, yes, yes. But
Connor, were you there the day that we rode with the Italians? Were you on that bus?
yes, I was. I was on that bus.
That was
Funny.
like the other part of it was like experiencing other frisbee cultures, not
Mhm.
necessarily guts related, but just like traveling around them and being like, "Oh, y'all are fantastic people."
Yes, I do.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, that was a blast. The buses, I mean, the
yeah.
shuttles were hilariously funny for multiple
Do you
reasons.
do you guys remember? I don't know what country it was, but do you remember it was like one shuttle on the way back, but they had the rubber chickens that make the like obnoxious, just like I can't remember what country it
I don't
was,
know if
but
I
they
was
were
on that
Oh,
just
bus.
I know what you're talking about.
Yes,
Um,
the chicken that you just squeeze it, it just lets out the like screech, like the kid's toy.
because
And
they were doing like songs with them.
yes,
Oh
yes,
no.
yeah, because we were all doing like karaoke. It was like bus karaoke.
That's incredible.
I know. Now I'm like, how can we get that circumstance of like, could you imagine now if it was just like, even just like, you could fit two teams, but the entire Guts community was like, all right, we're busing everyone to the games. Like, the tournament gets on like 4 school buses.
Oh my god. Nothing would
I
get done.
we joked about this a couple times because like Kurt and the Marquette Cuts Frisbee Association, honestly, like ever since I've been going to the tournament, any of the downstate tournaments, like they will offer gas money to some of the Marquette teams going down to kind of just help offset the cost and kind of
Dude,
maybe make that decision better.
charter
Um,
bus.
that's exactly. Like
Yeah.
if everyone from Marquette took a party bus down to
Oh,
Wisco,
oh my
that would
god.
be so fun.
You wouldn't get there.
No.
You'd get stopped at the state border, and they'd be like, "We can't let this in."
Now that's an idea.
Because at some point, you know, Hazer's going to end up driving that bus,
Whether the bus driver
wants him to or not.
Uh,
Oh
well then,
my
hey, we can go
god.
to Lansing with it then. We can
Yeah,
just stay in the state.
perfect.
Yeah,
Even better. Let's get over the bridge with this bus.
which requires an escort.
Yeah.
We have police escort. Oh my god. All right.
You have to ferry the bus across because you can't take the bridge.
Oh, you gotta get it onto the big old like bus or a boat to get across. Yeah, dude.
Oh, that'd be great.
Even
But
better.
I do think like literally any tournament, even if it was just like the IFT being like, "Hey, we're chartering like a bus up. Let's get like 40 Marquette Guts players on it."
Exactly. Like, and honestly too, it's a checker bus. So like they got a checker bus station in Houghton, you know what I mean? Like
Exactly. Like,
very
yeah,
yeah.
it's all local. Like,
Yeah.
and that way, no one has to worry about like getting back from the fields or anything. Like, just checker bus is dropping us off close enough to the hotel to walk. Like,
Yeah.
pick us up tomorrow morning.
Easy
Exactly.
peasy. Easy
I
peasy.
think we could make this happen.
Jeez.
I think we
Genuinely after this podcast, I'm gonna look at the cost
To rent a checker
of
bus.
like for like the Saturday Sunday only. Of like if we left Saturday morning and came back Sunday after the tournament ended.
honestly, even if it was just like one of the lamers, like school buses, like
Yeah,
it's the summer, it's warm out, like
dude,
it's
good old Marquette tennis trips back at it. Just
Oh man, dude.
for those of us in the Combat Guts Frisbee Snapchat group, just look at whatever nonsense Axel and Aiden have been sharing in whatever
Yeah, you
Braden
might
was
have to.
licking in that
Yeah, you might
video.
have to scroll up a little
Allegedly.
bit. Yeah, but you will find some videos from these tennis trips back in the day. Final thing we got for you, Connor, before we jump into our game. And again, if you don't have answers to this, that's fine because I realize some people don't like digest things the same. But if you do, we would like to know if you idolized anyone growing up, like when you first started, who that was. We also want to know who the best player you've seen play is, and then who the best player that you've played with.
okay. So, I mean, not to sound like a broken record here on this podcast, but in terms of who I idolized, like actually, uh, well, it's Cam Berrigan. That was like the person that I looked up to playing from Marquette. But also for another reason that I went to the same daycare as Cam and Justin
Hell
growing
yeah.
up. Fun fact. And
Hell
so
yeah.
there, I
Dude,
should have, I should have honestly came with the picture, but there's a picture that my mom has of me on my like first birthday at daycare, and little Cam and little Justin are like next to me while I'm in the high chair with like cake all over my face.
That's so sick.
Um, but uh, but no, Cam was just like it was like, especially when I started playing at like 13. I mean, Cam Berrigan was like a pretty cool guy to look up to playing.
Yeah.
dude,
Like,
you want to talk about aura? Like,
yes, yeah, yeah. Well,
no,
like
for
it was just, and with that too of like I remember that 2021 U.S. Nationals finals when I it's the only thing I remember from that finals is I bagged Cam and I literally like looked to Bert and I was like, dude, it's like this is a weird feeling. Like I just bagged like my idol growing up,
Yeah, dude.
and then I think I like threw and I think Cam like bagged me back. Like that, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
But but yeah, I mean, it's funny that it's like the easy answer, but like if you're from Marquette and you're around our age, like he was one of the guys, you know.
Dude, I remember. I think there's still a video of it too. Honestly, it might have been that 2015 Nationals, like your guys' first tournament. But it was that whole era where like O'Malley's just didn't wear shirts. But there's a picture of like Cam in like the sickest shorts, like no shirt, the old braided baseball
Oh,
titanium
the
necklace.
phyton? Is it like the
Yeah.
phyton
Yeah,
necklaces?
with
Yeah.
just like shades and a backwards hat with like surfer hair. And I remember like he's only a grade above me, so like we're almost the same age. And even me, I was like, this is the coolest guy in high school. Like I was like, this man is a legend.
Yeah, no, I mean, he just, and like, you guys know Cam really well. Like, Cam's just a great guy, too. So, like, being a younger player, like, Cam was like a really big influence with like me and Luke Lottinen playing. And like, he just helped, like, he would offer help. And like, especially when we both, I mean, even Noah can attest to this too. Like, when you started, like, there weren't very many young guys, you know, like, it was an old
No,
guy's sport. And
it
so,
was it was a lot of the old school Marquette players, and then like there'd be like two other kids, and you're like,
mhm,
I cannot relate to any of you
right. And
except the
so,
person who
like,
brought me.
yeah, and then so when Cam would kind of involve you, it was kind of like, okay, like like I feel pretty cool, you know. But um, what was the
Yep.
other one? It
Who's the
was
best player that you've seen play, and then who's the best player that you've played with?
okay. Um, Scene play is so I think I have to say like two things for this. One, Um, growing up and going to Guts tournaments in the 2015 to 2019 era, going to like every Marquette tournament to play in slash watch
Yep.
as a kid, Josh Twos just was like unstoppable because that was the time when I think did O'Malley's win one. I know they upset Appleton in one of those finals. If it
Yes.
was 2017
Yeah. It
or
was
if it was
one.
2015, but
It was later. I think it was like 17, 18 were there, or 17, 18, 19 were like their 3 wins or something like that.
okay, because it was like Appleton was just unstoppable. Like
They won
O'Malley's,
6 or 7 straight nationals.
Yeah, dude. It was
yeah. And
Crazy.
unbelievable.
so watching Josh just like catch almost every disc with ease was just like wow. Because that was like in my mind, like that was like prime Josh twos. Like literally, he if he gets mad enough, will not drop a frisbee
No.
at all. Um,
And I think
and
we
then
saw it too, like Australia, even. Like
oh
it got
yeah,
really windy, and Japan was throwing crazy shots. And it's like, who was the steadying catch for USA? It was like, no, it was Josh getting one bag and then scoring like into the wind to just
yeah.
flip a switch and be like, okay, let's settle it down. Like
hmm
I'll make the play when it needs to get made.
Yeah, and then the other side of that, Michael Banghart Staker, like that shot just was. I mean, that 2017, 2015 time frame of watching, like, I mean, it was just like uncatchable
Yep.
almost. And the only one that was catching it was probably Josh Twos. So I think those two answers are. I'm pretty happy with those two answers. So.
Sweet.
Um, Best player I've played with. Um, Honestly, he was like one of the big like people that kind of like shaped me into the player that I am and helped me learn a lot and get better. But Trevor Bretonia, um, I like. him and Derek Stone are. I mean, I getting to play with them again at the IFT with UP Hardwood, having played with them like all of 2021 and most of 2022, like those guys, like they kind of brought me up, and kind of pulled me with them. They're like, hey, like we're gonna play good games of guts, and like you're gonna like stick it up, and you're gonna
Yeah.
you're gonna face it. But those guys, I mean, I've seen. I mean, me and Noah watched it this weekend. Like Bert just does Bert things. Like you can't explain it. I
It's
mean,
it's disgusting.
And boy, am
it,
I happy he's on our team for Wisconsin. Hello.
Oh
yeah,
my god, yes. And I'm
and then
terrified to have to play against him the rest of the
For
year.
the rest of the year, yes.
and then just like being on the line with Derek and just being like, oh, this is gonna be caught. Like if it even hits Derek's whip, like it's gonna just be like right here,
Yeah.
squeeze. And so just like playing with that kind of like it makes you elevate your game. Like playing with guys like that, it's like, all right, well, I'm not going to be the one like bringing the team down. You know what I mean? Um, but no, those two guys, like, they can play some guts.
Hell yeah.
That's for sure.
Hell yeah. I love that. All of those answers are great. And there's a reason I decided to throw a staker, so I'm glad you I'm glad you mentioned Mr. Michael.
Hmm.
I'm only slightly hurt that your best teammate you ever played with was not the iteration of me in Australia. Only slightly hurt.
Hey,
Uh,
honestly, if you had figured out that fish hook you were throwing this last weekend
Dude,
into that Australian wind,
you
it
were
was gonna be
throwing a
so
that
gross.
you were throwing
that
a
would have
It
been
was
fish
gonna
hook?
be
nasty.
dude, turnaround fish hook in the oh Connor, you're gonna have to help me remember his name. Um
Takumi. I
yeah, dude,
think it's
number
Takumi.
27, dude. Like I was getting
Yes.
the Takumi form down.
We were just talking about trying to figure that out not that
Yeah,
long ago.
it
No.
turns out I just needed to be outside, Braden.
Oh,
Yeah,
In
okay.
in
All
Noah
the
right, great.
gym.
Noah outside with a little bit of a headwind, like it was pretty gross.
Oh my god. All right.
Him
I'm
and Bo,
excited to see this
Bo,
Dude,
now.
yeah,
Bo threw a really nice one too.
Bo randomly, like we know Lottie's had a good one for a while, like getting into Guts Camp a little bit before the game. Just like I swear this year, my two call outs are like I thought we were gonna see the year of the staker after like because a bunch of people were trying it and it was like Connor, you've got a good one. Like obviously Braden, it's your primary shot. And I was like, oh, a bunch of people are like trying it. I was wrong. Everyone's just gonna start throwing fish hooks. Like 15 people are just like, I got a pocket fish hook now.
Hell
Like
yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
and they all move like a crazy amount.
I would love it. I would love it if that's the new shot.
Now we just need John Ludke to bring his back, and then
No,
everyone
no,
will
we
be like,
don't.
all
No,
right,
No,
he can keep
all
that
right,
thing
I
away.
can't throw a fish hook anymore.
He can keep that
my
away.
my private parts are terrified every time John throws one of those because it's actually hard enough for me not to react to.
Oh my god. All right. So we mentioned it earlier. We've got a game for Connor. It's a fun little another edition of Braden's blind ranking. Connor has no idea what this involves, except it's going to involve some of his Wisconsin teammates on UP Hardwood for Wisconsin. Noah, would you
Can I
like
set the
to?
stage for the
Yes,
question?
yes, indeed you can.
Okay, so Connor, you're going to be blind ranking your teammates, the six of them, based on if you were driving to Wisco with this person and the radio didn't work. One being the best companion to have in the car with you, with no music, just your conversations, and six being the please just let us get here. Um, that is what you're ranking the best car companions if the radio didn't work.
Okay.
Noah, would you like to start us off with the first name as well?
Yep, and first on the list, it's got to be Hoagie.
All right. See, growing up playing hockey and baseball with Hogan, like we spent a lot of time in the car together, and
Mm.
I think honestly, I think Hogan wouldn't be a bad partner because Hogan is a notorious car sleeper. Like if you can ask Hogan this, but he can literally he could sleep through a tornado. Like he so he can sleep through anything. And so I think he'd be a good person to talk to for like a couple hours. And then Hogan would just be like, all right, I'm going to bed. And then he'll just go to sleep. So I'd say Hogan is like a good I'll put him at 3, like a good middle of the pack to start with, like a good conversationer, but he'll fall asleep eventually.
Starting us off, just laying the woodwork. Pun kind of not intended, but just right smack
Completely
dab in the
intended.
middle. Carson, I guess once so in my head when I'm thinking about this, I'm a big music guy. Love listening to music. First comes to my mind is who's gonna be the best? Who's got the best pipes? Who's got
Right,
the best singing voice? That's where my mind goes
right.
Are
to.
you setting up person number 2 intentionally,
I
Braden?
might be. So
Is
the
it?
next the
Wait,
next person. Yes,
can I take a
please,
guess?
please.
Is it Bo?
You're damn right
Oh
it
yeah,
is. You're damn right it is.
Bo Balkowski and his magical pipes.
See, so my only request is that if this actually does happen, Bo has to dress up as his character in the Addams Family when he was
Oh,
in the play, and he shaved his head and went full face paint, um, and sang the whole soundtrack. Uh, but no, see, Bo is a good conversationalist,
True.
but Bo could also be the person that could just like sit in silence and just watch the road for like 5 hours.
And be content. Be completely fine doing that.
Yeah, yeah, be very content. Um, but Bo, see, I think just because of the singing, I guess I'll go Bo 4. I'll go Bo 4.
Right below Hogan.
Yeah.
I
all right.
didn't.
Next
I
up, we
yeah.
got the newest member. Some have nicknamed him, and by that I mean a former Roach, uh, Trent Softwood.
Ooh.
But we got Trent Smith, the newest addition to UP Hardwood, is up next on the blind ranking.
Yeah, Trent. I'm excited to play with Trent. Like
That is a fun pickup for you
he
guys.
I think he's going to be a really fun. He'll be a fun addition, and he he was like he kind of talked to us about it a little bit over the winter, and he's like I just like the vibe of the team. Like and we had kind of become friends with Trent because Kasky was also really good friends with Trent growing up, and so Trent has started to like hang out with our group a little bit as well. But Trent in a car. See, I think I just don't have enough experience driving with Trent in a car, but I think the garbage talk that ensues with Trent, like the amount of times Trent has called me like Meta World Peace or Junebug.
Yeah, dude. He comes up
um,
with some nicknames.
yes, yes, and so I think just on that, I think I'll put him at 5 for now, but I think he has some uncracked potential.
I'm telling you right now, as someone who has driven to a from a guts tournament with Trent Smith in the car, 5 is way too low. five is
Okay,
I
okay.
five
know.
is
Well,
much too low, but I'm
I was
fine
gonna
with it.
say I'm on the flip side of having driven a crew to the old Michigan Tech December 23rd hat tournament that they used to do at the like tech gyms. I forget what the athletic center's called.
oh, the SDC.
Yeah, but there
Yeah.
was one time we picked Trent up. He had not gone to bed yet from the O'Connor household and just started driving, and all he had was just a 40 in a paper bag. It was like
Oh,
him and Sam Leo in the back seat, and I was like, I think Trent dumped 80% of the frisbees he threw that day. And then like we had to like stop for hits on like the way back in like Barica. Like it was the craziest experience of like you guys seem like you're having a lot of fun, and I'm like driving in my parents' car. So I'm a little tainted on it.
Yeah, no, that's totally fine. But also Connor hasn't experienced Trent in a vehicle yet, so I think
true,
5 is
true.
totally fine.
Honestly, if you brought this back to me in a year, Who knows? Who knows where the rankings
Could
might
be
be?
1, could be 6.
Next, yeah,
Yes.
next time you're on the pod, we'll ask you how this car ride
Yes.
went. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, next on the list, moving right along, the fourth member of the name, we have Brendan Caskey.
Okay. Hmm. See, this is a tough one because See, because me and Kasky lived together for a year in college. But we both went to Michigan Tech. Hogan also lived in this house. And me and Kasky bonded really well that year because of the sole fact that we were like the two sane members of that household. Like if anyone's ever told you about B House,
Mm,
B House was our college house that Hogan still lives in. And I lived in for a year and Kasky lived in for 2 years. And it was a dump. And Kasky and I were like Kasky was like the dad of the house. And then I was usually the one talking Hogan and Joey, like, maybe we shouldn't do this.
yeah,
That kind of like voice of reason. And but so me and Kasky bonded on that, and we would have some funny conversations. But I think Kasky, no hard feelings, but I think I'm gonna have to put you at 6 for this one. Just because I know the other two that
I
are coming, and
so
it's gonna be a hard decision.
so
I
that
was
was
gonna
my
say,
next question. You must know who the final two are.
I was gonna say, if you left 6 open for one of these two, I was like, I think you'd regret it.
Yeah.
So I'm not even gonna give you the names. I'm just gonna let you. Okay, well I guess for the
Which
listeners,
one do you want at 1?
the final
And
for the
talk us through it.
listeners, the final two
Yeah.
on this list are Axel Seitz and Luke Lotnan. Connor, I'll let you take it
Oh.
away.
So I don't know if you guys might know, but do you guys know that Axel's my cousin?
Oh my god, I didn't know that.
You're
So
related to the greatest Guts Frisbee player of all time.
yes. So me and Axel are like third cousins removed. Like it's a very small relation, but we are related.
That's so
Um,
sick.
but oh my God, this is tough because like Luke has been one of my best friends forever. And like I've had so many long conversations and so many car rides with Luke that like it flew by
Mm,
because we're just chatting the whole time. Or like I remember one car ride. I think me and Luke went to the 2019 Worlds and drove back with my dad like overnight Sunday night because
Christ.
we wanted to miss the bridge walk.
Oh,
And
Bridge is closed.
honk,
yes,
honk,
yeah, the bridge is
honk.
closed. Um, but I think like we talked guts like 5 hours. Like me and Luke just like anything. Like so me and Luke can just chat it up. And Luke is a talkative person, and so like I don't think we'd ever get bored. But on the flip side, like Axel, oh God, all I'd have to do is just make some joke about Brock Purdy and the 49ers, and Axel would be going off for hours. And so Axel's like one of those kitchen timers, where you can just like turn it to like 60 minutes and then it rings. It's like if you just say one thing about the 49ers, Axel, his timer turns, and then you got 60 minutes of Axel yapping. But honestly, I'd have to say I gotta put. I think I'm just gonna go Luke 1, Axel 2. But honestly, that answer could change by the day. But
No, I feel like you and Lottie is very similar to Braden and I's relationship.
yeah,
Like the amount of
mhm.
IFT drives that we have done together. Like Dan's usually somewhere in there, just basically replicating what I'm saying, but
All the
with
time.
30 more years of Guts Frisbee experience. But like the amount of times where like Braden and I are like, oh, we're already in like Baraga, and I swear we like stopped for donuts 15 minutes ago.
Or we stopped at that one gas station in the middle of nowhere and had a grape.
Every time.
Every time. Or we stopped to piss on the side of the road just past that lake or something. I don't know.
Oh,
And then all of a
uh,
sudden, it's like we're there already.
But yeah, I know
also,
exactly what you're talking about with that in Lottie.
also, just a note. So
Uh oh.
I picked
Uh
it up
oh.
on the last podcast. I picked it up as we went through, but you maybe I just missed it. I don't know. But you guys mentioned grape soda or like
Grape
grape
juice.
juice.
Grape
Yeah,
juice.
Grape
grape
juice.
juice. And I had no idea what you were talking about at first. And then it took me a second to realize I'm like, oh my God, it's the fucking sorry about that. Uh it's the
Oh.
it's the Saturday morning ritual.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
It's
You get
yes,
have your grape juice, put the cleats on.
exactly.
Yeah. You have a grape. You have some
Hmm.
juice. You put the
Hmm.
cleats on.
I like that's one of those things I love that is like a known thing now cuz like my dad started doing that with Willie DePietro when they were 17 at their first ever guts tournament. And my dad did it with Willie every tournament and then Willie stopped playing like at like Adam's second or third year. And so like my dad did it with Adam and then like with me and I was like now it's just like the tree of people who my dad has gotten into guts of like, oh yeah, well we always have a grape and some grape juice before like the day starts.
Oh, um, I, a quick story about your dad. Quick.
Oh, here we go.
So
Oh, I love this. An
as
Love
unplanned
these
Dan
as I
ones.
Gannon
mentioned,
stories. Yes.
as I mentioned, I started when I was 13. So 13 put me at like it was eighth grade, or no, it was, yeah, it was eighth grade. I was going into eighth grade. So that was the summer before eighth grade. And I remember your dad was still my principal at Bothwell at the time.
Fact.
And I saw your dad because I'd see him at practices or whatever
Yeah.
in the Bothwell gym, but I saw him at the Nationals. And I was like walking by and I was like, "Oh, hi, Mr. Gannon." And he like looks at me with a cigarette in his mouth and a Bud Light and he's like, "Just call me Dan." And then walks away.
Oh god, I
And
love
I
it. Cam has a really similar story because Cam was the same way. Of like, Cam was in sixth, seventh grade when he started playing, and he was like, "Dude, the first time I saw your dad at a frisbee tournament, like my brain broke. Like I
yeah.
couldn't
Oh yeah.
comprehend what I was seeing."
No. Well, it's like seeing any like teacher outside of school, right? But then you see Danny at a guts tournament as a seventh and eighth grader when he's
And you're
been
Oh
your
like,
yeah.
principal. This is someone where you're like terrified to go. Well, not terrified, but he's the principal. You go to the principal's office. You don't
Right.
want to do that. But then you see him at a guts tournament, and you're like, your head
Oh yeah.
explodes.
I I just knew that that next school year was going to be on easy mode after
Yeah.
that.
After
yeah,
you've met
you've seen
Danny.
that. Like
Yeah.
you're in the clear.
He's not
Yeah.
Mr. Gannon anymore. He's Danny now for the
He's
rest of
Dan.
it. Oh, hell yeah. So,
All right, well, should we get into what
please,
happened last weekend?
please, yeah, I'm gonna let you two kind of take the reins because I wasn't there,
Missed
unfortunately.
out
I did,
because
yeah,
you
Hmm.
had to go
You
on
just
your
had
lovely
to be there.
vacation
yeah. You and I flip
with Avery,
flopped.
who's great, but
Yes.
sadness. Yeah, so last weekend we did a kind of like trial run of a guts camp idea that I've had to clear up because some people thought this was like teaching guts to kids, which ironically we had done earlier in the week.
A few days before.
Yeah, I was like, hey, I just did that. Oh, geez, too excited.
Bless you.
Um, but this was a more like let's get the community together, get some different game modes that like highlight things that we don't normally practice, without getting it so serious that like we're doing the old Appleton drills, which I know made them really good, but sounds kind of boring to run. Um, but yeah, so we got together Saturday and Sunday. It was also the classic boomtown of like, let's go throw frisbees for 8 hours, and then in like 2 weeks we'll be ready for a tournament.
Hmm.
Which that part of it honestly was probably the most helpful. Of like, yeah, when's the last time you tried playing frisbee 2 days in a row?
Right.
Because I
It
think it
actually
was
was great
Australia.
tournament prep.
Like,
Yeah.
uh, but yeah, a couple of the game modes I'll highlight that we did. I know Connor, we had a long chat about how beneficial a version of the game where bags don't count as catches was. So like if you bag it, we basically said it was a trap. So the
Oh.
throwing team would get a point.
Oh, so you
Um,
have to pop it.
you have to pop.
Hmm.
Mm.
That was the first one, and I thought it would be helpful of like hands. Steve-O does this. You ever watch Steve-O warm up? Steve-O will not bag a frisbee. He will just sit there and pop for a half hour. And like I think he might have the best pops right now that I've seen in frisbee, or damn near close to it. And I think part of it is just like he puts such a focus on making sure that he can get a clean pop always. Um, but like we all found that like movement became so much more of a focus. When you know the frisbee isn't going to get bagged, it forces you to think about your movement and move like with more purpose every time. And I was like, oh, we could get this to be muscle memory if we do this like drill enough that instead of just being like, oh, well, Bird will bag it, be like, well, what if this is the one in 5,000 times that Bird doesn't bag that shot? Like, am I in the right place for it or not? Um, but yeah, that
But
was also just nice of like getting the frisbee community together for any reasons. Always just sick.
and like to add on to like the bags don't count as a catch game, like that. I mean, we were moving so much that we had three fields stacked next to each other, and we were like, oh well, let's just play on the two fields that are closest to the tent because we're guts players and we're kind of lazy. And then I think it was Luke, like halfway through the second switch, he's like, hey, can you guys just move down to field three?
He was like
Because we're
on
kind of like,
our line. Like we were
yeah, we're
basically
kind of like
making
running
super
into each
line.
other. Yeah. But no, like Noah put it very well. Yeah, I think it just you focus on, you're like, okay, for the shot. I know that it is not gonna be bad. And so like I need to be in my position to help make the catch. And like I don't know if Noah remembers, but like I was on an end for one of those games, and I was kind of in la la land for a little bit because we were having fun. It was Memorial Day weekend, and
I believe the Mickeys were flowing.
yeah, and I wasn't really paying attention, and I like look over, and Lucas Jensen is throwing a backhand at me, and I just bag it, and then everyone's like, Connor, what are you doing? And then I'm like,
And it was
ah,
a sick bag too. Like Connor's outside guy goes high up and grabs it, and it was just like, dude, the drill. And you were like, oh, I
right.
totally forgot.
Well, and it was one of those things of like that, and I think Noah actually, I think you said it to somebody while we were playing that game mode, but like that high outside hand is the hardest spot to pop because you almost have to like turn your hand in
You
to
have to
like
cup
get it.
inside around the spin. Like
Yes, yeah.
especially spins like backhand, righty backhand hitting your right outside hand, and then like a forehand hitting your left outside hand, and obviously vice versa for lefties. But it's like
Hmm.
it's the least team oriented shot because it's
Right.
like you just take away all of our movement. Like maybe if you have a whip like Bert, he can get there, or like a crazy fast middle like Cam. But if you don't get around the frisbee properly, it's like even if you get a great hand, because it's spinning away from your entire team, it's just never gonna matter.
No.
Yeah. And I think also like one of the best game modes that we did as well was we had a randomizer wheel with every single shot variant on it.
I have
And
wanted to do this for so many years, like
yes,
so many years.
and like I don't know about you, Noah, but like it panned out exactly how I thought it was going to go. Like
Yes.
it because me and Noah had kind of talked before this. We were like, the goal behind this game is to like get people out of their comfort zone and throw shots that they would not normally throw and have no repercussions. So everyone got a Leroy if it wasn't their primary shot. And like I can like Nick Harriff, Nickel Nick from Full Compliance,
Hell yeah.
literally he figured out that he could throw a really good flipper and spud just from like because
Yeah,
he's not going to go to a practice and throw a flipper, you know, but like when he can do it for fun,
Yeah.
and there's no
He
penalties.
also, like yeah, he got flipper, like, 4 times on the wheel in, like,
Yeah.
a single game. Um, and for Nick, it's, like, a good example of I know I talked to him when we practiced in the Barriga gym, now 2 weekends ago. Like, he's been working a lot on his forehand placement of, like he's almost like that veteran pitcher of, like, he changes speeds, like, he changes height. Like, he's been going shoe tops or fingertips, but it's like, yeah, you can't really throw that into a straight headwind. Like, it
Hmm.
just turns up too much. He doesn't have, like, the force to push through it because it's super hard with the forehand. But it's like, guess what gets better in a headwind? It's a flip. It's gonna move more. So it's like, yeah, maybe or like his spud if that feels more comfortable. But it's like I kind of approached it if one person walks out of this with a new shot that they want to throw going forward, it's worth it. And the rest of us just had a lot of fun.
Oh yeah. Like I think Justin Verrigan got like 4 thumbers
And they
almost
weren't
in a row.
bad.
Yeah.
I
But
also like it was really funny because we trying to identify what shots counted for a Leroy for people. Like it took us like 5 minutes to assign Bert rules. Like everyone else was kind of easy, but Bert was a nightmare because it's like backhand. Well, Bert throws that. Thumber. Well, Bert throws that. Like forehand. Well, Bert's been throwing a bunch of those. Like fishhook. Well, Bert has that. So like he got Leroy's. I think it was just staker and flip.
I think he just took flipper for his
Yeah, and I
Leroy.
was like, Bert, like you're crazy, man. And his flipper, like if anything, he just threw it a little too hard, so it didn't have time to flip. Like that was his problem.
Um, I think also like adding on to that same game, like I think the way it panned out was perfect because we did that Saturday night and like everyone was a little loosey goosey, people were drinking, hanging out. And then Sunday in the early day, we did the everyone gets a Leroy game mode where basically the sole purpose, if people aren't abusing it, is to hit spots, like hit the outside fingertips or try and throw a turnaround backhand from the 1 to the 5 on a righty backhand or something like that, right? And so it was that same thing of just like playing without repercussions in a non-practice atmosphere. And I think that allowed some of those people that tried different shots the day before to kind of keep throwing those, right?
Yeah,
And
it
I think
was
that's where we found like Bo's fish hook was
yeah,
just gross.
and it was like twofold, right? Because it was the I remember you were like, "Well, try and go 5 outside hand with a backhand," which is for any backhand thrower the scariest thing. Because
Hmm.
if you overcook it, it's just like there's nothing. It's a clear dump. And the
Yeah.
first one I missed by like 2 feet wide, and I think Bo was that end. But it was like, I remember you looked at me and you were like, "Just try again. Like this is why we have
Hmm.
it." So I could make the adjustment of like try and hit the same spot on the same line. Be like, okay, well let me take a step and a half over and see like, am I consistent in how far I'm pushing it, or was it just like a weird mechanics thing? And like I ended up hitting outside man, outside hand. And so it was also that of like, well, try and hit fingertips. And if you dump a foot high, who cares? Like we're learning
Hmm.
from it. And it was a good mix of because I always have thought like, why don't we do this in warmups? The same thing of like trying a new shot. Like we'll do that in warmups, but you don't get the defense trying to actually tell. Like if people are trying to catch, or at least a lot of Marquette practices, like the first 10 minutes of warmups, I'm not locked in defensively. Like no one's moving. So
Right.
it's like that in between of the second we put a score on it, it matters a little bit, but no one's gonna take a every shot gets a Leroy. And for those of you who are unaware, Leroy is the rule that we have where any rookie in the pool play of a tournament gets a rethrow. Just in general when they're new. So any shot that we threw, you could get a rethrow on. But it was also what we saw was like Josh was a perfect example of this. Of he'd been like working on a thumber a little bit, and he got to the point where he was like, "Hey, I'm gonna try and throw the thumber on the first shot, and if not, I'm gonna throw my forehand, which I know goes in, almost like a second serve in tennis." And it was like, cool. We got a couple people where it was like, "Yeah, try that new shot." Braden, your buddy Brad was a perfect example of like he'd try something that wasn't his flip that he knew he could get in on the first shot of like downwind. He was trying a few stakers, seeing if they would work or something like that.
Hmm.
And I was like, oh, this is exactly like that worked as well as I could have hoped it would have when we
Hell
first
yeah.
tried it.
Good.
I think also just a quick shout out, like I think for someone like Brad, like I played with him quite a bit throughout the weekend. Like he got a lot better from Saturday morning to like Sunday afternoon. Like I played with him, me and Luke played with him on our like mini tournament team Sunday afternoon, and like he was a completely different person between playing Saturday morning and Sunday afternoon. Like I think that helped him a lot to just like play that much guts and then also like really focus on learning different things, you know?
Hell yeah.
I was gonna say that was the one other thing that came out of the weekend that I noticed was a like y'all learn spin side. Here's
Mm.
my rant of the day. It's not that hard. Talk to Bert. Bert explained it to like 5 people when we were doing the no bag game because apparently a lot of people don't use that as like the vernacular. Um, but it was like, oh, we're teaching people how to play defense right now, which was not my intention in that. And I think I've been a little like bubbled of like we've been at the upper echelons of frisbee for a while of like the expectation every team I talk about to or like about is like no well we have this kind of learned defense of like every team I expect to play on Sunday in a tournament. I'm like, well, yeah, your end's gonna square spin side, and you know how to play fly side. But to have people like Brad or I know Bert was saying a few people in his team, it was like they had never just heard the expression before or like
Right.
understood it, and to like hear that of like, oh yeah, like the community sharing its knowledge, and like it doesn't matter that I have to play you in a tournament in a month. Like I want you to get better, like because it's gonna make me get better. Like I don't even
100%.
care if like accidentally like we found out that Connor here's got the best thumber in frisbee and he starts like acing us every shot in like a finals and it's like
Hey,
oh if we didn't have guts camp
you know what? I will say this. I scored two of the thumbers I threw this weekend, and
That's
one of
gas.
them one of them I put on somehow put like high outside hand on Noah on the end,
dude it
and it
was
was
so gross. I was so unprepared for the frisbee too. I saw you doing it and I was like this ain't coming to me. Like I don't even have to prepare to catch the frisbee.
Oh.
But no, like I just to like wrap all that up too of like what you're saying of like the whole at least in my head like the whole goal of Guts Camp and like helping people get better is like shout out Will Walden. He loves this quote from me. But I'm of the belief in Guts that iron sharpens iron, and so you cannot get better unless you play against the best and you push yourself against the best and learn to play against the best and with the best. That's how you'll get better. And so like you said, Noah, that 100% represents it. It's like if the Guts community gets better, we're all just going to get better.
Right. And that's like there's so much more ceiling to go to. Like for all of us, whether that's offensively, defensively with like movement or your hands, like I don't think there's any one of us who looks in the mirror and it's like I'm the perfect version of myself for guts. It's like we can always get a little bit better here, a little bit better there. And the like the fun aspect of it too, like someone was asking me like where I'd want to see this go in like future years. And I've always said like ideally I would want this to be like a camp experience of like let's rent some cabins or cottages that are like right next to each other and like let's grill out, let's have a bonfire when we're done playing frisbee. Like let's tell frisbee stories and almost have it like twofold of like I think we have a good barometer now of like what the gut side could look like for next year and now try and build on that like the other nice thing was at tournaments we kind of get too focused or at least I find myself getting too focused, especially on Sunday, of like we're here to do a job somewhat of like we're focusing on our team, we're doing our thing, like we're trying to win the tournament. And it was like the amount of just interaction that we got to have at Guts Camp of like, cool, we just played Guts for 2 hours, and now everyone just kind of agreed that it's a 10 to 15 minute break to socialize.
Hell yeah.
Hmm.
Like flip an empty can, call someone's name out, watch it never land, but like if it ever did, that'd be cool.
I think too, like this was just like this was the trial run. You know what I mean? Like this was like see what works to then do it on a bigger scale. You know what I mean? And so like go ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, also to make sure that like it works at all.
True.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there was a
Because
chance that we did this on Saturday and everyone was like, "Hey, that was lame. I didn't
yeah,
get any better." Like that was
exactly.
always a possibility that I was really afraid of like I didn't want to guarantee anything to like, "Hey, 80 guts players are showing up to this." And it just flopped hard. And
Hmm.
it was like, yeah, actually the game modes were super confusing. No one found them helpful and like they wish that they hadn't showed up.
Right.
And it was like that was like the fear constantly in the back of my mind.
Hell yeah. Well, I'm glad you boys had fun. And I'm glad that worked out for everyone. I'm bummed I missed it, but boy am I glad that it sounds like it went stupendously.
Yeah,
Uh
and I know we've had in just brief chats with like some of the downstate guys of like, is this just something that we incorporate with Global Guts Day going forward? Of like, it kind of checked a lot of the boxes, and we'll talk about Global Guts Day in a second. Of like, that's what we want Global Guts Day to be. Is like, here's a good like, it's not competitive, but let's get newer players in and give them an opportunity to get better and an experience. Or is it just something where we can like we have just like satellites of it? And it's like, hey, this is Guts Camp weekend every year. Like, go to your local one versus trying to get the whole community to travel like again to go somewhere, which can be difficult. But
Right.
well, and speaking of Global Guts Day, and you mentioned it, why not let's just rip right to it. This has already been our longest podcast recording ever. So let's
Whew.
just yeah, let's Connor, you got us on here. You got a good one here. So let's just keep going, shall we? What do you got for me, Noah? Global Guts Day coming up.
so, yeah, for anyone who doesn't know, Global Guts Day is something that we've been doing for many years. Like I remember seeing it when I was younger. Basically, it used to be Memorial Day weekend. We've moved it off of that weekend, specifically just of the amount of other guts related events that fall on holidays. Like we're usually around the 4th of July for the IFT, with USGO and formerly Worlds taking place on Labor Day weekend. Um, but it's basically just a chance for the community to get together, kind of start off the guts season and like just go do something with like our guts people. Usually it's either like a hat tournament or a practice. Each region will have their own thing. There was a while, I know Ryan Scott was telling me yesterday that for a while, like 4 countries outside of the US also were joining in for the same Global Guts Day like celebration. Um, so this year, I know Lansing has an event. Anyone listening to this day of, this will be this upcoming Sunday. They have an event Sunday at 1 p.m. I think it's at Bean Park. But check out their like Facebook page. There's a whole event for it that should have been shared to all of the Guts community ones. Connor and I will be going to an event in Chicago that we still have to plan, and I will text him after the podcast is done to see
um,
where we're at with that.
quick update on that. I was trying to get stuff set up, and it will be Sunday morning in the Naperville suburb general area. Field to be determined, but if you need to know the field and you're listening to this, reach out to the Bag Zone podcast social media, and
Heyo.
they will pass
We'll
that
let you know.
information along.
Oh, look at
Yeah,
that.
once we
Plugging
have
the
it figured out.
socials. Hello. Okay.
And then, uh, Braden, I might have more information than you about what Marquette's doing,
I'm
but
gonna be honest, I'm sure
sometime
you do.
Sunday, there's a hat thing. They'll be barbecuing.
Yeah,
It's
that
the
sounds
typical
familiar.
Curdy's throwing a shindig at Tourist Park.
Yeah,
Like
hell yeah. Which is
we know what to expect. It'll
always
be
a
a
banger of
blast.
a time, yeah.
But yeah, for everyone listening, go even if you just can't make something like go throw at a fence, go find a net. Um, I think it'd be super cool in the future to kind of put together like a video every year of like take like 30 seconds from each location and throw it all together into like a video that takes no time to edit and be like, here's Global Guts Day 2025. And if we can like get other countries involved, it'd be like, let's shout out to our friends that we played from Thailand and like look, Japan's, celebrating Global Guts Day and like I think that'd be such a good foot forward for our community of like, hey, here's that global engagement. As we try and get more countries involved and see how the sport grows. It's almost like a marker of like, yeah, this first year there's 3 events in the U.S. and it can grow into something where it's several countries participating every year.
Yeah, I'm super excited. It's always a fun day because everyone's in a good mood, and it just also means that like the majors schedule is literally right around the corner. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, so that's very, very
Connor, I don't
exciting.
know. I don't know if you felt this. Yesterday, I was way too sore to think about attempting to throw a frisbee. Like my drive back, my back hurt from like I hit the Sini stretch, and I was like, "Oh no!" I was like, we're getting tight already."
I I got out of my truck in Menominee at or Marinette at the Quick Trip, and my like left groin just like didn't want to work, and I was like hobbling into the Quick Trip, and I was like, these people got to think I'm like injured. Like, am I trying to seek medical attention?
Yeah,
Like, I looked like a
just-
wounded like bird. Like it was bad, but
but yeah,
hey,
I
now the Monday morning after Wisco, it won't
it
feel
won't
that
be
bad.
as bad, right?
Yeah.
I also like I hit today. I texted Braden. I was like, "Man, I could throw a frisbee right now." Like now that I've had one day to be sore, and I still like the first time I stood up at work today, just like my left glute just seized up. I went to like grab a clipboard for some paperwork, and I was like, "I'm hobbling." Like exactly what you described that quick trip. I was like, "Oh no, we're not done yet." Like
Yeah.
Hell yeah. So that's coming up. If you listen to this and didn't have plans to already, if you're in an area with Guts Frisbee, figure out where it's happening on Sunday. Please participate. The more the
and if
merrier.
not, plan one.
And if
You've
not,
got
yeah,
two
figure it out.
days.
Yeah. Just grab a frisbee, throw it a fence if it's just you.
Hey, honestly, as Dave Brown would say, and you want me to pass this along, as little as 2 people counts as a global guts day location. So as long as
True.
it's photographed and there are 2 people with a guts frisbee, that is a global guts day location. So
Get a
Hell yeah.
friend, even if it's just you and your dog. I'm counting it.
Hell
Like
yeah.
you're loosening the shoulder up. Like get out there, folks.
Hell yeah. All right, I think tell you, I'm gonna make the executive decision, and we're gonna wrap this up because we've had Connor for a long time now, and it's
yeah,
also approaching my bedtime. So,
I
uh,
think I think the audience will be able to tell how long it was because of how dark my
yeah,
screen has gotten
you've
because of the
slowly
natural daylight.
crept
Yeah.
into the abyss.
Yeah.
Which I have to say has looked no different from behind these
No.
very reflective sunglasses the entire time.
If you're watching this without sunglasses, you will notice that
You will
Connor has
notice it.
slowly descended.
Yeah.
All right. For those of you still with us, thank you for staying. Next week's episode, we will be previewing Wisconsin. Hey, Noah, is that time already?
Yes, we will be giving our accounting of how Global Guts Day went, and then it is time for the Wisco preview, which
Yes.
we will bug Connor for a team roster for here shortly,
Yes. And if
so
so,
we can get the full preview in.
if you guys want your team to be talked about or mentioned in next week's recording, please register for Wisconsin, the tournament, before Tuesday of next week, so we can chat about you guys. Also, just more teams of the tournament is fun. So yes, so in between now and then, let's see. Both the Oilers and the Panthers will have decided to win and move on. Um,
Correct. Well,
uh,
at least the
at
Panthers.
least the Panthers will, yeah.
Oilers series
Yeah.
might be going 7. We'll see.
Co-
Carolina's getting pumped.
they are. Connor, who are you pulling for? What do you got? Quick Stanley
Honestly,
Cups.
you know what? I'm a big Spit and Chicklets listener. I think it'd be really cool for Jamie Benn to lift the Stanley Cup.
Hell yeah, I love that.
That's a great answer.
Love that. That's all we needed. Yeah. So between now and then, fuck it. Jamie Ben's going on. I guess I'm hopping on the Dallas Stars train now.
He's
Uh,
gonna have a game 7 game winning goal.
which Tuesday at 9:04. I'm just gonna check the score real quick because that game's happening. Oilers are up 1-0 first intermission.
Ooh.
Anyways, it's only one goal. Whatever.
Big comeback. Big
But
comeback.
yes, but so next recording you will hear Guts Day recaps. You will get a little preview about Wisconsin, which will then literally be that weekend.
And you will have to keep us accountable for the fact that, Braden, this is my on-air reminder that we need to order our mic for Tent Talks.
Oh, thank you. We
It,
do.
it has reached that. It has reached that time.
Yeah.
We're gonna
Tent
get one of those
Talks.
fuzzy
Yeah,
mics to clip
dude,
onto a
he gets
frisbee.
it.
I like
He
it. I
gets
like
it.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so get ready. We'll have some shorter form content once Wisco's over, um, outside of just the podcast videos of more Guts Frisbee content coming your way.
Honestly, I hate to keep this going, but if you guys could do like an all gas, no brakes, if you remember the Fourth of
Oh,
July
Jesus
video, but do that
Christ. Yeah,
for
I
like a
do.
guts tournament
Oh my
montage.
God, that's a memory I forgot I had. All gas, no brakes. 4th of
Oh
July
man.
video.
Body shots with the Truly.
Oh my God. What
What,
year
what
was
was
that?
Holden's famous line?
I forgot it was him. Who was in it?
It was
It was
Rudden. I remember.
Oh yeah, because I do
Yeah.
remember that. Yeah, I
Yeah, yeah,
remember
yeah, yeah,
that.
yeah.
Oh my God. All gas.
Oh, there's some Marquette deep lore on that one.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
All
All
right,
right. Well,
all
you
right,
have
ladies
that
and
to
gentlemen.
expect from
Yeah,
Wisco.
please. Well,
But yeah,
hopefully, we're hoping so. We're planning on it.
until then, Connor, why don't you tell the people our famous line that we always get perfect every single time?
All right. Go get it.
Go get it,
Go
boys.
get it.